Hey there, NASCAR fans. Have you got your copy of the latest edition of NASCAR Pole Position Print Magazine? If not, there's no better time than now to subscribe at polepositionmag.com. NASCAR Pole Position is the only print magazine covering NASCAR. Officially licensed by NASCAR, NASCAR Pole Position Magazine is published throughout the NASCAR season, and each edition is an instant collector's item, packed with great feature stories and photography. The magazine is even mailed to you in a poly bag for those who love to collect NASCAR memorabilia. At polepositionmag.com, you can even find past issues available to purchase. Get your subscription to NASCAR Pole Position and get great NASCAR content delivered straight to your mailbox throughout the season. Learn more at polepositionmag.com. That's polepositionmag.com.
Hey y'all, Rick Houston here, and I want to tell you about my new show, the Moonshine and Motorsports Racing Podcast. I've partnered up with the state of North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources to help uncover the history behind moonshining mountain boys, professional wheelmen, and the backwoods and city lights of the Tar Heel State. In the first episode, I sat down with Winston Kelly at the NASCAR Hall of Fame for a little behind-the-scenes gossip about Junior Johnson's engineering skills.
He's got two things in his hand, pipe wrench and channel lock pliers. And they weren't new. They had been around the block a time or two.
Wasn't the first steel they built, I bet.
No. I think the pliers had been red before, but paint had worn off.
And in the second episode, I talked to a professional hillbilly, a.k.a. Dr. Daniel Pierce of UNC Asheville, to find out the real history of moonshiners and their battles with the revenuers.
He wrote about one of his experience of trying to chase down this bootlegger in this souped-up car, and he complained that the government gave him these piece of crap, cheapo cars, and that were really no match, but he thought he was doing pretty good, and then the guy just hits it and just takes off and practically disappear. But then the guy makes a bootleg turn and comes back towards him. And as he said, it was a game of chicken, and I was a chicken. And so he ran off the road. And actually, he was the guy who caught Junior Johnson at his daddy's steal when Junior got tangled up in a barbed wire fence.
So check out the Moonshine and Motorsports Racing Podcast, available on YouTube, dailydownforce.com, and all of your favorite podcasting platforms. And be sure to check out my regular show on NASCAR history, the Scene Vault Podcast.
Eric Estep here. One of my favorite parts of being a NASCAR fan is collecting diecasts. It's how I got my start on YouTube, actually. To me, a room is not complete until it features shelves of NASCAR diecast cars. It's as good a time as ever to continue your collection or begin an all-new one by pre-ordering your favorite driver's 2022 next-gen diecast at lionelracing.com or at any authorized Lionel retailer. Lionel is the official diecast of NASCAR, and don't miss Lionel Racing's NASCAR Authentics diecasts at a Walmart or Target near you. Not only is Lionel the official diecast of NASCAR, but they're also official supporters of the Out of the Groove podcast network. So what are you waiting for? Head to lionelracing.com to order your favorite driver's 2022 diecast.
You're listening to Made in Level Cross, presented by Pristine Auctions. I'm Thad Moffitt.
And I'm Rowland George.
And today we're joined by current NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver Bayley Currey. Bayley, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Happy to be on.
So I guess this year's kind of been a rough start for both of us. You want to kind of talk about where you're at this year?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not where we want to be 3 races in, but I know we have the potential. We just haven't had the luck, I guess. Daytona. There's really not much you can anticipate or hope for there. We still ended up with a decent finish, and we got some stage points, which did help us through the bad luck we've had the past 2 races. But Atlanta, I think everyone knows what happened in Atlanta. Turned into a convertible, lost the roof while running 4th, and then Vegas, I made a mistake early. Had a really fast truck and did a little too much with it too early. So the good thing is we've been fast, been able to go and charge and try to run up front. Just haven't got the finish to show for it yet. So I hope we just continue that and just finish them off. We'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can second that, just saying that I feel like we've had the speed and the trucks to run up front. We just haven't had the results to show that we can run up front. So I feel like we're kind of at a good spot as a team, even though that the finishes don't necessarily show it.
Bailey, got to ask, where's that roof? Do you guys, is that in NASCAR's custody or?
It's in the conference room. Actually, there's another meeting going on in the conference room. It's in there. There's a lot of nice relics in there, trophies and different things. And I wanted to put a trophy in there before anything, but I guess I got a roof in there, so that's a start.
Hey, you made history.
Yeah.
The conference room is awesome, dude. It's like the table has all of this cool Nice history on it, and then there's like pieces and parts of cars in there, and then there's a bunch of trophies, like you said. So adding on to that is a goal of mine and Bailey's this year.
Yeah, for sure. Got to hang some banners and bring some trophies home.
Ross has got a lot of hardware in there, so we gotta change that up with you two. So
yeah,
add some trophies up there. So Bailey, let's talk about. I mean, when we talk to guests, we like to start in the beginning. You know, obviously, one of the questions that always comes to mind is like, why racing? What got you into racing, and then specifically, why NASCAR? Right? You could have done any type of racing, for the most part. Take us back to Texas. Growing up, I know your dad was a race car driver, but what got you into that?
I mean, pretty much just that. My dad raced kind of locally when I was growing up, and I actually had a buddy of mine in my second grade class. His dad raced, and I know he got a go-kart, and I had one the next week, and we were racing in New Braunfels, Texas. Hill Country Kart Club is where I started. And it kind of just snowballed. Did a bunch of go-kart racing around Texas, Oklahoma, and we were actually at a national event in Denton, Texas one weekend. We had a day off. We were going to do, 9-year-old kid stuff, going to the movies, whatever. And drove by TMS, and they had the U.S. Legends cars used to have like a test drive program. I don't know if they still do. And they had that out back at TMS at Little, Texas. I went and drove a Bandolero, and pretty much got in one of those immediately. So my dad raced short track stuff, like oval stuff, and we were doing the road course and go-kart stuff, and we were kind of out to lunch. Like, we just weren't, that wasn't our deal. That wasn't my dad's deal. He didn't know how to work on them as well. Did the best we could. We won some races, but when we got to the short track stuff and the circle track stuff, that's where it really took off. And Bandoleros, Legends cars, stuff like that. Did a lot of traveling in that stuff. I mean, from California to New York. And then once we got into the full-size car stuff, cut back on traveling a lot. Just a lot of Texas stuff, a little bit of Gulf Coast, Pensacola, things like that. And I was really, when I got to that point, I didn't plan on racing NASCAR, to be honest. I was going to college at Texas State to do engineering, and was like, I'll be happy if I could race super late models on the weekends. And I just got a call from a friend of mine I raced Legends cars with and said, hey, this is a long shot. You're going to have to work in the shop, but you might get a chance like once or twice a year. So I was like, well, I guess I got to try that. If I don't, I'm going to regret it. And came out and did that. And again, another snowball from there, but got opportunities here and there and kind of just tried to work my way up the ladder the best I could. And got to run my first race for Nice in 2019 and built that relationship into what we have now. So
yeah, well, that's really cool. But you've run all three of the NASCAR National Series, right? So,
yes.
So it's kind of been like a steady progression. But is this your first full-time truck season?
Yeah. So I was talking about this with my engineer earlier. I really wouldn't have considered a lot of the truck races that I've run prior to the Nice stuff to really be racing trucks. I drove trucks. I was there at the racetrack, but it was lower tier equipment, which don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful for. It got me experience in the truck and got me to where I feel like I had speed, but I feel like the races with Nice has been my first true races. Like the racecraft and stuff for the truck racing is much different than I would say an Xfinity car. But yeah, it's my first full season in trucks. I run a full season in Xfinity, but yeah, first full truck season.
How did the whole Nice deal come about? You know, like you mentioned just earlier, you got the call a few years ago to drive for them. Was it Pocono, right? When you first were
Pocono was my first start, yes.
Gotcha. How did that come about?
I mean, really just had a sponsor from Texas, John Alverson. He helped me get in that ride. I met Cody Efall, the general manager here, my first truck race ever in 2017. I met them. They were pitted right next to us. I think Jeffrey Abbey was driving their truck at the time, which was funny because I raced with Jeffrey growing up in Texas. But yeah, made that, started to build that relationship there. And then always, I mean, even since the time I moved to North Carolina in 2018, I was kind of notorious for just showing up at people's shop and seeing if they had any races available. When I had time, if I wasn't working on my own stuff, I was trying to, network and do things like that. But yeah, and then I started to build that relationship with Al. Al's equipment business, Nice Equipment, is about 20 minutes from, where I grew up. So I started going to see Al a lot, going to his shop, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. Just go say hi, check in, and kind of built that relationship. And then I believe it was COVID year 2020. They gave me a call to go run Kansas. And we ran really well there. Like, had a shot to win the race, got a flat tire on the green, white checker, and finished 12th. But we had a shot to win that race, and I think that kind of helped my case a little bit here. And like I said, just always stay tight with Cody, stay tight with Al, and try to make the best of every opportunity I've ever had. And eventually got to where we are now.
Well, my relationship with Al has been pretty good so far. I think Al's a really good dude, easy to get along with. Yeah. And Cody and all the guys here are definitely easy to work with. I've enjoyed every minute that I've been in this shop. Yeah. How was it like making the transition from Xfinity back down to trucks? Like, I know I've talked to you several times and you say how different the two of them are. Like, what sticks out to you being the biggest difference?
The biggest thing is the aero, and I think it's twofold, right? Like, I ran Xfinity, and all the stuff I ever ran in Xfinity was, we were mid-pack. That was like we were fighting for 15th was a good day for us. So I think the intensity that you race with when you're racing 15th to 25th in the Xfinity car versus, in the top 10 of a truck race, it's a big difference and a lot of different experience throughout the field in trucks, I feel like, too. Like, you might be racing with a guy like Matt Crafton who has all the experience in the world, or Brandon Finger, or you'd be racing against a younger kid who might not know as much. And
like me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big disparity in experience in the truck series. And then on top of that, just the aero. I mean, I'm sure you felt it, right? Like, you're playing aero games the whole time. That's what got me in trouble in Vegas, right? Was being too aggressive and not leaving enough room for air on my right side. And knowing how to keep your nose in clean air and different things like that, and how you can use that air to side draft and pull people back to you and everything like that. So it's been a big difference in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, like, from my experience running top 10 in Atlanta and Daytona, it's a lot calmer, like, once you get in the top 10 in the truck race than it is when you're dogfighting back there for, like, 25th forward, right? I
totally.
mean, like, it's like, that's what it is, a dogfight.
Yeah.
15th back.
It really is. It ramps up pretty quick, and I feel like that's what makes it so hard to get, like, it's so hard to get out of that area, but once you're out of it, it's like, okay, now we're okay. It's like turbulence in an airplane. Like, it's rough to get through it, but then once you're through it, you're all good, just smooth sailing. But,
yeah, like when I was just riding in 8th at Atlanta, it was just like, that's what it was. It just felt like I was just riding there, right? But like when we were back in the back, it was like turbulence everywhere.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah, so you ran with Johnny Davis, some Xfinity stuff, right? Was the road course experience much different for you, like between the two series, or?
It is slightly. I would say that if you're going to go to any racetrack, that's about as similar as it can get as far as driving feel. Like, I mean, I've run the first weekend ever at COTA, I ran both series in the same weekend, and it's just a little bit different, really. I mean, you're like the stadium section at COTA, those right and lefts, you're a little bit more hung out in an Xfinity car just because you don't have the downforce, obviously.
Yeah.
The horsepower is really close to the same, so your forward bite, things like that, that's all really similar, but your braking power is greater in a truck because you have all the drag, and then you just have a little more downforce to the higher speed stuff like the S's and whatnot. So I'd say that's the biggest difference I felt.
Yeah.
Granted, the truck race I ran there was in the rain. It was the first year, and it was pouring down rain, so I only got practice in the drive.
Yeah.
What kind of track suits you best, Bailey? Like, are you guy who likes short tracks? Do you like the mile and a halves? Like, based on your background, how you grew up with the Bandolero racing, like what really fits your driving style? And has it changed?
I would say anywhere that's just worn out, like a worn out racetrack. Like, I think if you're going to look at my best mile and a half, it's probably Homestead because wore out and you're sliding. I really, really like Richmond. We didn't run so good at Richmond last year, but I feel like that is one of my better short tracks. I enjoy Bristol because I think it feels the exact same as that 5th mile behind TMS, honestly, as when I was a kid. Granted, I go back now, and the banking looks a lot smaller. But when I was a kid, it felt like I was at Bristol, dude. Like, it felt like I was driving on a 90-degree wall. But, I mean, honestly, it's weird how similar it feels. Like, I think back to it, the lap time is the same. Your timing on and off the gas is the same. But I like short tracks a lot, too. But I like the road courses. That's one thing I hate about the truck schedule is we only get one.
I agree.
I wish we got at least 2, 3. Like, I'm thinking 3. Yeah. But,
well, even last year they had like Mid-Ohio, right? And then they took that away. Like, I wouldn't even mind them adding one of those back.
Yeah.
I'm okay with not having dirt, though. How do you feel about that?
I'm burnt about that. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, because I've been part-time so many times, and the one race I never got to run was a dirt race. And then I'm like, all right, fine, I'm full-time. I signed my deal, I'm full-time. Can't wait for the schedule to come out. Schedule comes out, not a dirt race on it. I'm like, I guess I'm just never going to get to do it. I mean, I wish that we would do, if we were going to do dirt, it was like Eldora.
Yeah.
I think the Eldora races were so good, but I would have taken a Bristol dirt. I would take any dirt track. I just wanted to do it one time. It's like, just to be able to say I did it. If it never comes back, I wanted to say I did it. Like, even the Chicago street course, I was supposed to do that in Xfinity last year. Didn't get to do it. And even if they never did it again, I want to say I did it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I think that, like, I agree with you. If we were going to do a dirt race, we've got to do it at, like, Eldora or Knoxville, like somewhere that's a dirt track. I mean, Bristol's exciting enough without having dirt
exactly,
on it,
exactly.
And I like that track, like you were just saying, enough without piling dirt on it. So I think that more road courses and where's the race that you would like to run that's not currently on the schedule?
There's a lot of them, honestly. I feel like there's so many good tracks out there that, I mean, like Chicagoland is like a mile and a half I'd like to go to. Iowa's, arguably one of the best tracks in America that we don't go to. As far as a road course, I'd say like Road America or maybe Montreal.
Trucks at Road America would
that'd
be nuts.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
you run a TA2 car there, right?
Yeah, that was fun.
I love that racetrack.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Like that kink in the back through the truck would be
I think
awesome.
he'd be wide open because you got so much downforce. You just hold her pin through there.
Yeah, there was a lot of similarities in sim between like the TA2 car and the truck. I felt like because of the downforce that the TA2 car had. But I would want to run Rockingham one time, dude. Like I go back and watch Rockingham or Iowa would probably be like.
I think any of those tracks that are that size are ideal.
Yeah, like Richmond and all those places just produce good races.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish you guys were back at Dover. I mean, I grew up watching races there. I absolutely love the truck races at Dover. It's a shame they don't have that on the schedule anymore.
Dover, only on iRacing, not even ARC race at Dover.
Dover's, there's no place like I qualified an Xfinity car at Dover one year. I remember we were really good with Johnny. But, like, the throttle time and, like, especially with the Xfinity carts, you don't have the downforce to lean on. So, like, in qualifying, you're gripped up. But, like, it could come unglued like that. So, like, you're wide open and you're just like, I hope this thing doesn't slip. Like, don't slip. And you make it through. And I remember I did an interview with Regan Smith afterwards. My hands were still shaking from the lap. So, like, that was annoying.
So, one of the things I really like about you, Bailey, is, what I find is a lot of drivers I talk to, I'm surprised there's not as many car people out there, car guys, car gals. You really are hands-on. I remember talking to you a few years ago at Phoenix. You're talking about old trucks, right? What do you got in your garage? Do you like working on vehicles? A couple years ago when you were at JD, you did a whole series on YouTube about prepping your car, which I have a lot of respect for guys who do that. So, what do you got in your garage? Anything cool? And then tell us about that. Like what makes you fall in love with street cars, right? You seem like someone who really likes that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, my street car, I drive a Chevy Colorado. I don't really have anything cool in my personal garage. The coolest thing I have is probably a CRF 110 pit bike. I get to do a little work to that thing every once in a while. But, I definitely like it. It's something that I wish I could do more of. Obviously, pretty busy working on race cars and stuff and prepping for race weekends, working out, things like that, doing sim. But I wish I could do more street car stuff just because it looks interesting and it always had interesting. It's one of the things I frequent on YouTube is a bunch of different car stuff. So in the future, something I'd like to do. I think I have a list of cars on my phone I'd like to have in the future, maybe some project cars. But right now we're just sticking with the old Colorado, which does the job, gets me from A to B, and I can work on race cars. That's the other thing too, is I feel like race cars, believe it or not, I feel like are easier to work on than a street car. There's just less stuff in the way. Like you don't got wires and everything else, sensors everywhere. It's just bare bones and really easy. So
yeah. In between TA2 races last year, I worked full time at Petty's Garage, and I can confirm that it is a lot easier to work on a race car than it is a street car. Like there is just it's inconvenient to work on a street car.
Exactly.
Like everywhere you try to go is not made for a hand to be in that place.
Exactly.
Well, Thad, you got to hook them up. We got some vehicles in the back that need some homes, so get Bailey out here and
Impala.
Put him in one of them.
What is the Cadillac that I worked on? We need to bring that thing over here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah, so Bailey, we had Dylan McCool out. He's a pretty big, he's got over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, very well known in the automotive industry. So he does these like junkyard resurrections. He'll take a car that's been sitting in the woods for like 40 years and get him running. So the deal was to get his grandma and grandpa's old 70 Imperial running. Well, it turns out the heads were just totally, they were useless. So they had to move on to another vehicle. And I think it was a 70, what was it, that a 76 Cadillac, like limousine? I think that's what it was.
Like that they drive like to the funerals in and stuff, man. And we had like this, like the fuel pump went bad on it. So like we went and bought one of those electric pumps and put a 5-gallon jug on the front of the car and then wired it up for the electric pump to run in there. It was pretty sick. We drove it around until the radiator blew up on us, had a hole in it or something.
Man.
Yeah, it's fun though. I like working on, that's something I like too, is working on like street cars and stuff like that. I think that it's definitely a lot more challenging, but it is rewarding when you get something like that running.
That makes sense.
Wheelmen of Genius, talk to us about that. What's around the corner with that? I used to love listening to your podcasts. Anything new over there?
Ask Wheelmen of Genius. I haven't done it in a long time, and it sucks, dude. I moved houses in November, and I got a whole studio set up, everything. I just haven't done it. It's like, it's so, first of all, my co-host, Matt, he's busy and lives an hour away and doesn't want to come do the damn thing. But whenever we do it, it is good. And like, I wish I have you on there. It's cool because like I have the whole studio, I have it set up, everything, have microphones, the whole deal. Haven't done it, man. It's been busy, and it is hard. It's hard to, I mean, you know, like it's, you got to set everything up, get everybody together, and then take your SD card out and edit it. And if you want to do video, it's even harder on top of that. So, and it's something that like I'm very meticulous when it comes to stuff like that. Where like if I do it, I'm very meticulous about it and take too much time doing it when I should just do it and pump it out, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's one of those things I definitely want to bring back, but
I think it was a lot easier to do in the off season. Like in season, you just never know. Like our meetings are different days every week. Sim time's different day every week.
Exactly.
I mean, the trailer leaves a different day every week. Yeah. Like there's no consistency unless it's an off week, really, on what you're going to be doing. Everybody's like, "What's your week look like?" And I'm like, "Which week?" Yeah. It's different every week.
I mean, the good thing about the truck series is we race on Fridays, but you know, I want to take my weekend too. But honestly, if I could do it, I'd probably start trying to work in on Sundays and try to do it like that. But it's just trying to get a good schedule of it and being able to pump out all the content is tough. I mean, I struggle to post on my Instagram sometimes, but I'm working on it.
We'll definitely bring it back. You got a great back catalog of it. So for all the folks that listen to this podcast, go check out Bailey's Wheelmen of Genius. I thoroughly enjoyed it and definitely need to bring that back. But so, you know, going back, driving full-time with Nice, what was it like getting that call saying, okay, you got a full-time ride? Like that's got to be huge for any driver, but you know, knowing it was Al asking you to full-time drive for him, you know, what was that like last year?
I mean, it was definitely cool. I kind of felt it coming. You know, I had a pretty substantial part-time schedule with him last year, and I could feel like, you know, I could see the writing on the wall. I knew Carson was leaving. I knew that there was that opening, and I was like, okay, well, I got to make the most of these part-time deals, and I feel like I did. I did good. I feel like I could have done better still, but as a race car driver, you always feel like you could. You win the race and want to do better. But I think that I kind of saw it coming, and it's things that we had talked about, and I mean, me and Cody and Al have talked about doing like a full-time deal for years. and it just never came to fruition. And I could kind of see it last year starting to come around. I'm like, okay, we really need to do this. Like, I need to get on my game. And yeah, whenever contracts put in front of me it's crazy, just to think about, and be able to have this opportunity is really special. And to do it with Al and the guys from Nice. I mean, I've worked in the shop here before I was driving here and have a great relationship with everybody. So it's been really special. It sucks the past few weeks, like Vegas, I go and mess up. I got to come back and be like, sorry guys, I screwed up. I know y'all busting y'all's butts on these things, but it sucks in that aspect sometimes, because it's like going and telling your brother you crashed his car, but it's been really special working with him.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really excited to hear about your announcement last year. I mean, I know you guys are really hard on yourselves, but I think you had a pretty stellar part-time season. I mean, what was it, 3 top 5s you had last year?
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome to see.
Sure.
And then Atlanta, I really thought you had a really good truck at Atlanta until the roof gate happened.
Yeah.
So
I'll second what Bailey said. I mean, like, it's just our journeys have been a lot different. Like, he's run NASCAR national stuff since 2017?
Yeah, it was first start 2017.
2017, and I've been trying to get to the NASCAR National Series with my ARCA stuff since like 2017, running part-time ARCA schedules, and then I went full Trans Am racing last year and a couple truck races here and there. But to have that like full-time contract sitting in front of you, you're like, pinch yourself. You're like, is this real life?
Yeah.
Like, you mean I get to run 23 races for the same deal? Like, have that consistency, have something to build on every
Right,
week.
exactly.
And then it definitely sucks having to tore up trucks. I know that it's not fun for anybody here, but we've tore up 2. Bailey's got a couple tore up, the 42, the 45 wrecked that at Daytona. So Fab Shop staying busy here for sure.
Bailey, this might seem like a silly question, but like aspirations, where do you aspire to be, with your career? Is the Cup Series, that's where the silly question comes. I mean, is it silly to ask, is the Cup what you aspire to go to? Or are you one of these journeymen who you'll race whatever, right? It doesn't matter what series. Like, what is your long-term goal? Where do you want to end up in 10 years?
I mean, I don't know. To be honest with you, I flip-flop on that quite a bit. I want to race forever. That's my goal. I want to race for as long as I can and make a career out of that. Part of me is like, yeah, I'll go race Cup. That's how you get the house on Lake Norman. You can't really, I mean, to be honest, I feel like it wouldn't be as fun as racing an Xfinity or trucks, but I mean, it's what pays. So, maybe go do that for a few years, and if I can step back and do to be honest with you, I'd love to race Xfinity or trucks the rest of my life. If I'm a Matt Crafton, if I'm Justin Allgaier, I think that is a perfect life to live. Getting to drive race cars for a living is really the end goal, and I feel like I'm doing that now, but I just got to make sure we can keep on doing that and build on that as much as possible. So I think that, like I said, I flip-flop back and forth. Like, I watched the Cup race this past weekend. I'm like, man, that looks kind of fun. Like, that'll be all right. But the 38 weeks is tough. But then again, you drive a race car 38 weeks. And in the Cup Series, I feel like they make it a little bit easier for you. So I don't know. Like I said, I want to race cars forever. That's the thing I want to do. I mean, if I'm racing trucks and I can race super late models other weekends, or I'll run a mini stock if you let me. I don't care. I just want to race all the time.
Love that answer. That's awesome.
We had that conversation between you and I, Rowland, a while ago, and I pretty much said the same thing. Like, if I was like a Matt Crafton or a Grant Enfinger or Justin Allgaier, and I was competing for wins every week, I would rather do that than go run like 30th in a Cup car.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. Is, I mean, it's your level of competition. Like, I mean, you're gonna go run really good, or you're gonna go.
Now, if like Mr. H or Joe Gibbs called me and they were like, "Hey, come drive my stuff," like, absolutely,
yeah, the right opportunity. I mean, it's all opportunity based. Like, if the right opportunity comes, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like a double-edged sword, Rowland. Like, when you ask like a driver our age that question in the position we're in now, like, I wouldn't want to leave here to go run 30th in Xfinity. Like, I would rather just stay here and be somewhere where I know I can like compete inside the top 10, right? But even if it's an Xfinity ride, right? So I think that it's just like a double-edged sword asking that question.
Okay, well, it's been fantastic having Bailey here. I wish you all the best of luck this season, man. I really think something's going to turn around with everyone's luck at Nice for sure. I think you and Matt definitely bring your A game each and every week. And like I said, I really thought you had a really good truck at Atlanta, and we were all crossing our fingers thinking like, man, Bayley might pull this off. But then, of course, Mother Luck comes in and says no to you. But yeah, just wish you the best of luck, man. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. You have any words of wisdom for old Thaddeus here? What can he take away from you? Obviously, he's a quasi teammate of you for this year. So, what kind of words do you have for him?
I don't really have much. I don't know. I mean, we both work together. I mean, I feel like we both see the things that each other do. I mean, it's just a lot of studying and film watching in this game, especially these days, dude. Like, I used to be of the opinion that I was the very old school opinion that, Sterling Marlin used to smoke cigarettes while he was driving. He still run good. Like, I didn't care about working out or anything. But nowadays it's, if everybody else is doing it, you kind of got to jump on the train too. So I think just the prep that goes in during the week is more important than it ever has been. And I've been trying to work on that. And I don't know, I haven't run good yet this year, but I feel like it's coming, Just trying to learn from every experience and keep the left front headlight out. Keep clean air on the nose.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Bayley. And we'll go word from our sponsors and then listen to the second half of the show.
Thanks.
Pristine Auction is the most trusted sports memorabilia and collectibles auction site. Auctions on pristineauction.com start at just $1. And each day, thousands of signed items are available. So you win signed authentic items at affordable prices. Every item on pristineauction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators.
PristineAuction.com is your one-stop shop for all authentic signed die-cast, helmets, trading cards, photos, and so much more of your favorite driver.
All right, Thad, Pristine Auction. Love these people. I got my eye on something that I actually won. No, I really didn't. But you had an awesome auction last week. A lot of good stuff. People went away with, helmet, fire suits, gloves, some underwear. I mean, it was all good, man.
Yeah.
So I missed out on every single piece. So my bid did not go anywhere. You guys definitely outbidded me on a lot of that stuff. So
we appreciate everybody's participation. Looking on here this week, I'm on the weekly auction, and it looks like they have Muhammad Ali signed boxing glove. Oh, man, that's pretty sweet right there. I mean, that's tough to beat. So it'd be cool to get your hands on that. Be sure to visit pristineauction.com and use code THAD10 for 10% off of your first purchase. Links are in the show notes.
Induction Innovations is the leader in American-made handheld induction heaters. Home to the original Mini Ductor for over 20 years, they've been innovating how mechanics can tackle challenges like Loctite, rust, and so much more. Induction Innovations Mini Ductor series was meant to free up components quickly using induction heat. The Mini Ductor is designed to help techs cut down on ticket times and say, forget that torch. Induction Innovations. Do it faster, do it better, do it safer. Visit inductor.com to learn more.
Camera Logistics, serving Southwest Virginia for over 25 years. These guys offer third-party logistics services such as warehousing, storage, retrieval, inventory management, local transportation services. They do it all. Camera has 11 locations spanning from rural Retreat, Virginia, right up on to Lexington, Virginia. Cameron's also given a shout-out to all the NASCAR teams to come try dinner at Union 41 just off State Street in Bristol, Virginia. Say hi to Chef T and enjoy her amazing cuisine. They are so very proud to be sponsoring Thad Moffitt and the Faction 46 team at Bristol. It's Bristol, baby. Let's win. Visit camera.com for more information. Well, Thad, that was fun talking to Bayley.
Yeah, talking to Bayley's always fun, man. He's a good energy in the garage. Like he was saying, he's been around the sport for a long time. He's never really run full-time in anything, but he's run some cup races for Rick Ware and Xfinity for JD, and he's been bouncing around in NASCAR for, I don't know, the past 7 years or so. Mm-hmm. So cool for him to have a full-time ride and for me to be, like you were saying, a quasi-teammate with him, having him to lean on and all that experience. And he helps me a lot in the sim stuff that we do. So pretty cool to lean on him, and hopefully we can both get on the right track. Man, it's been a tough start.
Yeah, I think it's good that you have him and Matt to lean on in the time being. I mean, none of us are where we need to be points-wise, but I think once we tighten some things up and we got some better luck, I think you guys will be rocking and rolling. One thing that was interesting to me was, you kind of miss how long some people have been in the sport. Bayley said his first stint was in a couple races for Nice was back in 2018, 2019?
Yeah, 2019 or something. Yeah. So he's been there for 5 years.
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
It's like time flies.
So he's been running like part-time stuff for Nice, though.
Yeah.
This, like he was saying, this is his first like full-time deal. He did run full-time in Xfinity, but this is his first full-time deal in the Truck Series. And then like before that, even he was running some stuff in 2017 in the NASCAR series. So like I said, he's been around. He's learned a lot. He's kind of bounced around. He's works on the cars. So that's pretty cool. There's not very many of us anymore that work on the cars. So being a select few of us there at Nice that actually put hands on the race trucks is pretty cool.
Yep. So I hope Bayley's luck turns around like ours. I think it's funny they have that roof in their conference room. That's going to be there for a while because, that's got to be the first time that's ever happened on a truck.
Yeah, and he said like during the race when he was describing it to me, like he saw the window cave in, and then like I guess after that it started getting really cold.
That's it.
He said it got like really, really cold in the car. Like you could tell that it was 170 mile an hour winds like in the car, and then obviously eventually the roof came off, and I guess his spotter came on the radio and said debris. I'm not sure what it's for. And Bayley said the roof came off. And what are the odds that the roof flies off? And then like I saw later in the week that it hit Ty Dillon's truck, the Rackley roofing truck, the roof of the 41 hit the roofing truck. Yeah. So crazy how things work out, but that was unfortunate. He's been fast. We've all had speed like we were talking about, and it's just, like you were saying, putting the luck factor in there, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in these races that have nothing to do with you and kind of determine your day. So just cleaning some of that stuff up and putting ourselves in a better position to start the race, I think will be better.
Well, let's talk about that, cleaning some things up. For the most part, I mean, I know you started kind of towards the back of the field. It was kind of a hurdle at Las Vegas, but take us back to Vegas. The truck came back in one piece, so that was huge. No crashes or issues there. The tires got flat spotted, but overall, pretty decent effort by the team at Vegas.
Yeah, I feel like just some inexperience on my part was what hurt us at Vegas. I feel like our truck was capable of running inside the top 20. I don't know that we were to run much better than that. I mean, I feel like we had decent speed, but not. I don't feel we were evenly matched with the Spire trucks or the McAnally trucks or Tricon stuff was pretty fast, but I feel like if we were able to get up there and race, I would have a better judgment. But obviously, stage one, Bayley spun. We flat spotted the left front, and when we got back up to speed, we just had the bad vibrations. So to keep the tire in one piece, to keep from blowing it, I kind of ran around the rest of stage one trying to stay on the lead lap. It didn't work out. We lost a lap. I think into stage two we got our lap back, or beginning of stage three, and then it was like time to go racing. And so we made up a few positions right there, and then it went green flag. And for me, it was my first ever experience doing a green flag pit stop, which was interesting. Like, it was like, you think it's going to be easy, right? And then the spotter's like, all right, pick your markers. And then like 3 laps go by. He's like, all right, I think right here's a good place to lift. He's like, and then they tell you at the line, all right, coming this time. And you're like, oh, crap. Yeah. This is like, I'm really pitting at 180 miles an hour, and I got to be 45 when I hit pit road. And so some inexperience on my part, I like lifted in the middle of 3 and 4, obviously, to get down and get checked up. And so I like held the same amount of brake pressure in the transition where it transitions from track to the pit road entrance. And it ultimately flat spotted the left front again. And then Doug made the call to do rights only. And we were like pit stall number 1. The 77 was in his pit stall, so we had to come around him. So they were talking me around him. So while I was talking to them, they were talking to me. So it was just like a lot going on right there. And then we did rights only, and then we pulled back out there in the same way we started the race with a bad vibration. So that kind of stunk. I mean, I think all in all, we managed our day the best we could. We didn't get any penalties. We executed good stops. We moved forward on every stop on pit road. We had the truck in one piece, and we did the best we could with what we had that day. So looking back at Vegas, I mean, no, it's not what any of us wanted, but it was the first race that we put the whole thing together.
Yep.
And I think that going forward, I mean, at least we have that to build on, right? Like looking back and talking to Doug after, he was like, I know that it sucks how we ran out there, but he was like, we can build on that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like he was like, after Daytona, we didn't have anything to really build on, right? We ran 5 laps and got destroyed. And Atlanta, we really didn't have a whole lot to build on for notebook wise, but Vegas, we can build on. We can get better. We can make the truck better. We can do it. So when we go to the next mile and a half, I think that we will be better. And obviously our package was not made to qualify. It was made to race because we did not have qualifying speed, any of the niche trucks. We could go wherever we wanted in the race, but ultimately I just feel like we were too tight. You know, I just feel like it hurt us there. But as we get into the summer months and these tracks get freer and they get more heat on them, our package will be better, I think. I hope so, because I don't like running 25th.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think Bayley does either, or Matt, or whoever's going to be in the 45 at those races. I think that it's something that we all hope that we can improve on. So I'm excited to get to Bristol and see what our short track package looks like. Man, these next 3 really have me excited. You know, like Bristol, I have some laps at. Coda, I have some laps at. And Martinsville just looks so fun. Yeah. I've never run Martinsville, but, man, it's like all the guys that were good on road courses were good at Martinsville. So hopefully I can take some of that road course experience I have to Coda and Martinsville and run well. And Bristol's just like cool. Like everything about Bristol's cool. I could just run laps there all day.
You had a pretty sweet save a few years ago in ARCA.
Yeah, we led some laps in that ARCA race. We ran good. Ty Gibbs won the race, and I finished in the pits. Not great. We were running good. The 15 got into us, and we spun and ripped a brake line off, and then ultimately blew a right front like 5 laps later, and it was just – they went from really good to really bad. That's why the sport's so humbling, right? Yeah, I mean, it was like that was one of those races that you look back on and you're like, man, I would have had top 5 for sure, if not something better. And then you go back and watch and see what you could have done different. But biggest thing in this sport is just keeping your head up and eyes forward. You know, just keep moving forward and building something and getting better each and every week. And I think that's what we're doing at Faction. I hope that's what everybody feels like we're doing, you know, just improving. Obviously, our finishing positions haven't reflected our speed, I feel like, but we've definitely improved every week. So that's all you can ask for.
Yep. You've finished better each week. So, you know, by the time the season's over, maybe we'll hit top 15 or something like that.
No, before that, man, we need it like now. We need it like now. We've got to have a good run. My guys need it. I need it confidence-wise. We all know we can do it. It's just about executing. So I think just putting everything together and running a good, solid race will be the key to that. And I figured out, like, through my first 3 races already, kind of stage 1 and stage 2, like, unless you're in the top 10 battling for stage points, don't push the issue, man, because somebody's going to push the issue. And if you can just hang out for those first 2 stages and race hard in the 3rd stage, I think you'll be better off. Yeah. You know, like it helped me finish the race at Vegas. Had I been more patient at Atlanta, I feel like it could have been a situation where we could have came out of there with a good finish too. So looking back, I think I'll approach these races a little differently because before I was running what I would consider sprints, like the Trans Am races were like 100-mile races. Yeah. They were like started and then they were over. But these races being longer, you know you've got 2 set stages, and then after that you kind of get what you can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we leave Vegas, just a couple things. So, you know, big shout out to Raja Karuth. I think well-deserved victory. Definitely had a lot going for him during that race. And, you know, he's come a long way. It's like I tell you a lot. You know, last year, full-time in the GMS equipment. Same with Nick Sanchez. Like, I think these guys – as you are right now in this season, you're building upon something. And look, those 2 guys have already got wins under their belts. So not saying it's going to take, hopefully it doesn't take us long to get into victory lane. We'd love to be in victory lane this year, but realistic expectations, you know, are there, right?
Yeah.
We're not expecting to be.
I think that the like lack of practice really hurts people like me and Lane Riggs and like the rookies that have no idea, right? Like, Raja, even I was talking to him, and he was like pre-race at Atlanta. I think I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I wrecked the first 3 races last year," and he was like, "I spent the rest of the year trying to dig myself out of the hole." And I was like, "Look at me!
I know who that is.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, man." But like even like Daniel Dye, look at what I mean. He's already got a pole this year.
Yep.
He's got some solid finishes, but like everything that those guys did this year, they prepared for last year. So they had that experience going back where like, as I unloaded at Daytona and Atlanta with
your first time in a truck
with
ever.
not very much, like no idea what to expect.
Yep.
So I think that just like having that experience definitely paid dividends for those guys. And hopefully we can just continue to build on something like that. And we stayed at the South Point. South Point was on the truck.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Big shout out to Brendan.
Big shout out to Brendan Gaughan, buddy of mine. And thanks for coming on board for that race. And the hotel itself is like the Taj Mahal, man. I mean, it's like you pull up to it, it's got like golden windows. it's like really cool. And then you walk in and it's your typical Vegas hotel with the casinos and stuff, but the restaurants are all very, very good. What I figured out while I was there, that really is where the racers stay.
What a few, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, all the haulers are parked across the street and everybody's there. So it's pretty cool to just be in that environment outside of the racetrack, and really appreciative for everything that South Point did for me for the Vegas race, and look forward to a long future with those guys.
Yeah. Before I forget this, so we have what's great about Thad's fans, a lot of them are your grandfather's fans, so it's really cool to see them. But then you have just fresh fans coming into the garage every day looking for swag, sheet metal. FY, we have sheet metal at the garage, so we can check that out if you want a piece of Thad's sheet metal from Atlanta or Daytona. But one of the questions that some of these fans ask me are like, how do I listen to him on race day, right? Because sometimes the guys in the back don't get as much TV time as you deserve. I mean, you were in P2 for 10 seconds, so, we got to see you in the top 3 for a little bit of time. But I highly recommend going to NASCAR.com, downloading that app, the NASCAR app. You can listen to Thad and or your favorite driver any of the series by just downloading that app. And you can listen to Thad and Doug George get frustrated or, pump each other up. Totally up to you. It's really cool. Get you inside the truck with Thad. Definitely check that out. It's not that much a year. I think it's like $30 a year. So definitely check it out. It's like your scanner in your pocket. Something else concerning Vegas. So your mom left a surprise on my desk. A ling long. I think that's what we're going to call these things. Is just, I don't know what else to call them. Where'd you go to eat?
So we went back to Tao. It was pretty cool this time. We had a Tasty Duck hooked us up with a custom menu that said the fastest duck in the South.
Apparently you're America's fastest duck.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's
America's fastest duck, number 46 on the menu. And that was like super cool.
Yeah.
And they definitely took care of us there. And then come to find out, Mom left with another ling long, and I was like, throw that thing away. Like, get that thing out of here. It is not good luck. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to try it again. Maybe we'll try it again. We need to just take a break and see what is.
I don't know. I think I'm going to talk to Brandon and have him sneaking in your truck somehow.
Dude, I just don't think that's a good idea. I mean,
what if you don't know Ling Long is not in the truck? I think that'd be a good
Then
control.
You would know. And then
I would know, yeah.
Then if like something happened, you'd be like, oh, crap.
But I guess it's true. You didn't have – I think you had a pretty decent Las Vegas race without anything, right?
It was okay. It wasn't great.
I gave you Ling Long during qualifying in Atlanta, and that didn't go too well either.
No.
All right. Well, let's not use Ling Long at all. Maybe I'll give it to Doug. Maybe his luck might change.
I think we need to just get rid of it.
No.
Yeah, we need to try a new good luck charm.
Here's something. If anyone does listen to this podcast, the first person that DMs that, and it cannot be Jim Boyle. Jim, you're disqualified from this. First person after listening to this who DMs Thad and says, I want Ling Long, we will mail the Ling Long from Daytona to your house.
Okay.
Courtesy of Thad Moffitt.
Just don't expect it to bring any luck to you.
Yeah. Don't expect.
We're not making any promises.
It is stolen property, so you got that on you're now an accomplice. I transported across state lines, so it's a federal crime now. So, you are an accomplice to this crime of mine. if you guys want the Ling Long, it's yours. You just have to say those magic words. You got to DM Thad Moffitt at Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Is that where the DMs happen?
Yeah.
Okay. So do that, and Thad will sing you Ling Long. Ling Long 1. I got Ling Long 2 at my desk. It's
bad luck charms.
We'll see. Well, all right, so we talked about Vegas, going to Bristol. What does America's Fastest Duck have to say about Bristol?
Before we go to Bristol, like, I want to just talk about our off week and then having, like, going and watching the Cup race.
Oh. Okay.
I thought that was like
that was a pretty good race.
I thought it was a good race. Yeah, I thought
Phoenix.
I liked the new package. I thought it was racy. I thought the track was wide. I thought that you could run like 3 wide pretty comfortable. And I don't know. I didn't drive, but it looked like they could run 3 wide and like not have an issue with it. 4 wide was a problem, obviously. But like I thought that the Phoenix races were good. Obviously, the big wreck in Xfinity race made it a stinker.
Ooh, that was bad.
Yeah, it made it a stinker, but I think that, like, before that, the racing was really good. Like, all weekend, I would not say that there was one absolutely dominant car in any of the races.
Yeah.
Like, Christopher Bell obviously fell back on pit stops, and he had the best car at the Cup race.
Sure.
But he did not just run away with it.
I'm telling you, though, Martin Truex shocked me. Like, he was good all day, but the fact that he needed a pit, right, because of tire fall off and gas. I looked up each time, and he was, like, knocking spots away. And I think if he had a few more laps, he would have caught Christopher Bell.
He drove all the way back to, like, 7th
place, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap. I was like, yeah, Martin's going to finish 15th at best, when he pitted.
Yeah.
And then he unlapped himself.
Yep.
Came back to
Drove
7th.
the field.
I was like, holy crap. Yeah, so, like, that package I thought was, like –
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a good package, man. I thought the racing was – I mean, I know that a lot of guys said they couldn't tell much difference, but you saw the field shuffle up more than you had previously.
And Toyota showed up, man. I mean, the legacy cars were good. John Hunter was okay, but, I mean, Eric, until he got hit by Bubba, I mean, that car was really good. He could have walked away with the top 10, but – and then, Denny Hamlin kind of shocked me with, spinning out by himself. I don't know how that happened. He probably covered that on his podcast, but he ended up walking away with a top 10.
Yeah.
So
pretty
good.
So putting that behind us and moving forward, I'm excited about Bristol. I mean, I don't necessarily love the PJ1 on the bottom. When they spray it, I think it makes the race, at least my race, the truck race and the ARCA races the ARC race that I ran there and the truck race, what I watched, it makes it just a one groove racetrack. Like, you can't even consider moving up. I know that for the Cup race, they run so long and they've already been 2 or 3 races ran on that stuff. So they can move up to the wall. But like my race, I think that with it being fresh, if you're out of it, like even in sim stuff, we were like 4/10 slower, just not running in the PJ1. So I think that it's like you have to be there in the bottom, in the PJ1, and then it makes it a bumper car race.
Yeah.
And
you probably say qualifying is everything, right? You'll go multiple laps down if you don't have your crap together.
And I think that, like, looking back at like the race, track position has been the biggest factor in those races.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Nick Sanchez last year, started in the rear, stayed out at the end of stage 1, and running the top 5 after that because of the track position, right? I mean, because he was there. It wasn't that he wasn't fast enough when he was running 30th. He just didn't have the track position. Right. And I think that, like, the biggest thing there is just that you can't use a second lane to pass. And so I hope that the track is better this week. I mean, like, I hope we produce a good race, but I would not be surprised if you see a bottom feeder race that we all have to be in the PJ1 and we get stuck down there. And I did see that there is some rain in the forecast, so that can make it really interesting. It'd be fun to watch. The Cup race on Sunday has like a 50% chance, and they just tested that damp weather package.
Yeah, yep.
So that'd be cool to watch, I think. The trucks ran it at Martinsville last year in the rain, so we could participate in the rain racing too. So we will see. But, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get to Bristol. Like I said, that's one of my favorite places to run. Just run laps.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a cool place to run. And so getting there and experiencing that again will be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, as always, we're going to close our show here with some questions from the awesome fans of Maiden Level Cross. So let's take a look here. All right, first question for today comes from Michael Floyd in Annapolis, Maryland, home of the Naval Academy. What is the funniest story your grandpa or Kyle told you?
Funniest story my grandpa or Kyle told me. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of good stories from my grandpa and Kyle. I don't know. The funniest one I've experienced with my grandpa is probably the snowmobile story that everybody has heard if you listen to this podcast, but where he went and got stuck on the snowmobile and came back down in his overalls and leather and all that. And that's probably one of the funniest moments I've had with Grandpa. But there is definitely a lot of funny things that the family has done over the years.
Can you think of a funny story that your Uncle Kyle has told you?
Uncle Kyle is a storyteller. I feel like it's like he's really good at telling stories, and he can like put a spin on anything, but I can't like right off the top of my head. One of the funniest things he did was it Bristol that he said they should fill in with water and make it a
that was
or
Darlington. Yes.
Darlington.
Yes.
He said, yeah, that was a pretty funny comment that people still look back and reflect on and think is funny. And that's probably truly how he felt. That's one thing that you're going to get from him. I mean, he's not going to hold back. He's going to tell you how he feels about it. So that's probably something funny he's done.
That's great. Next question comes from Ryan Petty. Do you know who Ryan is? Ryan Petty.
One of my cousins.
Really? Roseboro, North Carolina?
I don't know. I know Ryan.
Ryan Petty.
Yeah, he's part of the fan club.
Okay.
I've seen him before.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But Petty's a pretty common last name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Petty, right?
Yeah.
That's really the only other Petty I know.
Tom Petty and Richard Petty. Yeah, I guess it's pretty common. I know 2 people out of 7 billion that have that name.
And it's a word in the English language.
Yeah.
Figure. Thad, what's one food you don't like that most people do? I'm curious.
Pork
myself.
chops.
You like pork?
I don't like pork chops.
Oh, you don't like. I asked you what's one food you do like, right? Or did I just jack that up for you?
Yeah, you just said what's one food I don't like that most people like.
I was so interested in what you were going to say about what. Okay, so the question was, what's one food you don't like that people do like?
You just asked me the same question. Pork chops.
I messed up. I don't know why this is so confusing for me. So you don't like pork chops?
I don't like pork chops.
Why don't you like pork chops?
I don't know if it's the texture, man, or what it is, but it's like I just can't. Like I feel like it's tough, and I'm chewing on it forever.
Just pork chops or any type of like pork loin? Do you like pork loin? Or?
I don't like pork loin either, man.
Dude, I'm going to change that.
I like bacon and sausage and hot dogs, and it's not like I don't like pork products. I just don't like the slab. Like
you've never gotten like a Smithfield pork loin from Walmart or the grocery store?
Have I never got one? Yes, I've ate them. I think maybe that's why I don't like them, because that's what I ate my whole childhood.
You're doing it wrong. What you got to do, this is a cooking tip for you folks at home. What you got to do is get one of those, pre-seasoned pork loins they got. They got all types of flavors too, garlic, roasted herb. You got to sear it in a cast iron pan, and you cook it. You put it in for 90 minutes, 425. It's awesome. So you're wrong.
One food that I do like,
that a lot of people don't like,
is duck.
Duck.
Yeah, I do like duck.
Well, that's our mission, right? We have to change America's mind because duck is delicious.
I like duck, but I know that a lot of people are like, "Man, I'm not eating duck. I'll eat chicken." But I like my girlfriend included. She was very skeptical to try duck for the first time.
She loves it,
and now she loves it. Yeah, I was like, "This is a duck sausage." She's like, "A duck what?"
I think a lot of people. We should get Joey Jergowitz on here because I think there's this conception of duck that people are not going to like it, but then they have it and they're like, "This is amazing." I don't know what that is. Do you think people have this idea of just like this fluffy little duckling or something? And
I don't know.
I don't know either. He's got to have the answers. I mean, he's the king of duck trivia and all that jazz. So.
Yeah, I think that people can very easily not prepare it properly too. It sounds
true.
like chicken's kind of hard to mess up. You know what I mean? you can cook chicken pretty well
That's
anyway,
true, I guess,
and
yeah.
it's good, But if you don't cook duck, like even the way he was telling me, you cook it in the oven, like you got to put it in there before the oven gets hot, so that while it's heating up, it does something to the fat, and then I don't know, it's just a preparation maybe that turns people off.
We got to get to the bottom of this. Why doesn't America eat more duck?
Yeah, we need everybody to eat more.
We need
duck.
more, yeah. But that's our job, is to make America eat more duck.
Yeah, and our friends make America's tastiest duck.
That's right. Our friends.
Yeah, our friends at Joe Jurgowitz and Sons.
Yes, sir. Tasty Duck. TastyDuck.com. Said by the true legend Thad Mob here, America's fastest duck. What are you going to dress up like a duck, like Stroke Race did?
Dude, I would do whatever. I would do the Clyde Torkel chicken suit.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the Joe Jurgowitz
duck suit.
Yeah. All right. Here's what I need, because I think people are convinced in our little inner circle here. I need this audience to do a petition, right? What's a petition site?
I
forget. There's a petition site out there. Isn't it like get your signature mysig.com or something? We need a petition to have Dad dress like a duck, akin to Stroke Race. If you've not seen Stroke Race, you got to do it, because it's one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go down Bristol and sit on a big egg and be, hauled around by Lauren in a tractor, but it's got to happen. You got to do a duck dance, and
at some point this year,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I think we should just do it.
Yeah, why not? Don't
worry,
tell anybody. Just do it.
I know Joey is totally for it.
Yeah.
I don't think your dad's for it. I don't think he wants to see his son in a duck outfit.
Oh man.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's the show, everybody. I hope you liked it. If you don't, listen to another podcast. I don't know what to tell you. But in the meantime, eat your duck. Bank at Customers Bank. Get a Lear bed cover.
Bid on pristineauction.com.
Right. All right, come on.
Use your Induction Innovation heating tool for all your rusty bolts. And
if you need to ship something, Camera Logistics got you covered.
Yep.
Check them out.
Stay hydrated with Once Upon a Coconut, and keep your house clean with Best Working Wipes.
Yep. If you want to learn how to shoot a gun, go to Sig Sauer Academy, man. It's that easy.
Yep.
And if you got a vehicle that you want to hype up, come visit us at Petty's Garage right here in Level Cross, North Carolina.
Yep. This is a spot, so be sure to check us out on all social channels, like, subscribe, leave us a review on whatever your favorite streaming platform is, and follow me, Thad Moffitt, on Instagram, Facebook, X, and anywhere else you can find me.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.